Hey everybody, this is Matt at TradingParadigm.com, and today I want to discuss why day trading is so stressful for a lot of people and what can be done to overcome it. A stress response is common amongst market participants because, to put it simply, there's something, or even more likely, multiple things that they fear. The fear of losing money, being wrong, looking stupid, feeling inadequate, missing out, and there can potentially be many other fears at play. But in my opinion, they all link back to the inherent uncertainty within the market environment. We all naturally crave predictability and control. In the markets, we want to recognize a pattern, perform a certain action, and expect that same action to consistently produce our desired result, aka a winning trade, every single time. But markets don't work this way. It's not an exact science. Perfection is unattainable. It's a game of probabilities and risk-reward in which losses and drawdowns along the way are inevitable. It can be an incredibly rewarding challenge if approached correctly and constructively, because markets are amazing at exposing our biases, irrational tendencies, and limiting beliefs about money, risk, loss, and uncertainty. But if you fail to accept this feedback and appropriately adapt, then the stress you feel will never go away. The good news is that it's absolutely possible to turn trading into an endeavor that's a lot less stressful than what you might currently be feeling, and these are the three core areas to concentrate on to do so. The first is having a mathematical edge, or in other words, a strategy, system, or methodology with positive expected value. If you aren't consistently putting the odds in your favor, then you simply won't achieve long-term sustainable success, and you'll experience a whole lot of stress, anxiety, and frustration along the way. Having this edge or expected value from a probabilistic and risk-reward perspective is really the source of trust and confidence in what you're doing. We can get all philosophical about accepting our feelings of fear and obtaining balance and being in harmony with the market, and all of that is great. I'm a huge proponent of patience, balance, and obtaining inner peace in the face of risk and uncertainty. And we'll discuss this kind of thing more in a couple minutes. But the absolute most important mindset component of trading, in my opinion, is having a good attitude in regard to the development process, consisting of deliberate practice and habit and skill building. Being intentional about what it is that you want to improve upon and actually doing the work to achieve it. The daily tracking and journaling and regular periods of review to continuously improve, adapt, and refine. There's a lot that goes into having edge. It's not just running a backtest one time and thinking you have it all figured out. Market environments change and context shifts. And without legitimate market competence and skills and habits to lean on in order to keep and enhance your edge, of course the default response is going to be stress and anxiety. You'll feel helpless, which often leads to impulsive behaviors. But when you have confidence in your abilities, there's no reason to be overly concerned about short-term outcomes. Your competence, skill, and edge will win out in the long run. Then the second component is risk and money management. Having risk management systems in place are huge for reducing stress. I hear people ask the same questions a lot, like how much should I risk on each trade? Should it be the same every time? Should it change? What percentage of my account should it be? And while there are some decent general rules of thumb that can be followed, the answers really depend on your competence and skill levels and what you're personally comfortable with. But the main point of risk management is to control losses and keep them relatively small. But it's a balance. You want to risk enough so that your winning trades are meaningful, but not too much that just one or several losing trades in a row blows up your account. So you have to strike the right balance for your account size, competence, skill level, and your emotional makeup. The bottom line is that anything can happen on any single trade. No outcome can ever be guaranteed. It's impossible to know the motives and actions of every single market participant and potential market participant in advance. Understand that to some degree, you always have incomplete information. You're playing probabilities, not certainties. So you absolutely need risk and money management protocols in place to protect your emotional and financial capital from adverse circumstances. Yes, day trading is short-term in nature, but it requires a long-term probabilistic mindset for survival. Capital preservation is paramount. This brings us to the third component of mindset and psychology. There are so many different branches or categories of mindset and psychology to potentially talk about as it relates to trading, and it wouldn't be possible to get into it all here in this one short video. But I think the most important mindset tool to internalize is being self-aware, being mindful. And with this awareness, you can better understand why it is that you think, feel, and behave the ways that you do. And then analyze whether or not these things are serving or hurting you. All change starts with awareness, and the right mindset needs to be wrapped around and interwoven within your mathematical edge, risk and money management, and overall process. It's essentially the glue that holds everything together. Overall, day trading doesn't have to be all that stressful unless you allow it to be. As a complete beginner, yeah, it's usually stressful because you don't really have these three components firmly in place yet. And on top of that, you're probably overwhelmed by the limitless number of markets, instruments, timeframes, and strategies and systems to potentially trade. And this is normal in the learning and discovery phase. But once you have a methodology with edge that fits your personality and preferences, and you employ proper risk management around that edge, and you develop the right mental framework around all of it, the internal struggle dissipates. There will always be at least a little bit of what I consider good stress that involves slightly pushing outside of your comfort zone in an attempt to scale up or grow in some way. But non-stop, debilitating levels of stress and anxiety is not the reality that trading has to be. Ultimately, it's up to you to design the experience it is that you want and take the steps to manifest it. Or by default, your personal experience will most likely be extremely frustrating and stressful. You can find the link to this full article down in the description, along with a handful of other resources. And if you have anything to share, please do so down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Take care.